What is up, guys? It is AJ from MMA Experts, and this is the UFC Fight Island 5 weigh-in recap, predictions, and betting odds. Got the Fight Island style shirt on today, feeling tropical. Let's get into the first fight of the night. Bruno Silva takes on Tagir Ulanbekov. Silva comes in at 125.5. He looks in great shape, very lean. Ulanbekov comes in 126 on the money. He looks very lean as well. I don't think the body matters at all in this matchup. Both these guys look solid on the scale, but the skill difference is going to be substantial here, especially on the side of Tagir Ulanbekov's grappling. I think that he's going to dominate with that. I think he goes on to win a unanimous decision. Bruno Silva, though, I do think he's going to be able to last some rounds. I don't think he goes out there and gets starched, stopped in the first, ground and pounded very quickly. I think he's a competitive guy. He has trained with Henry Cejudo, so obviously he's been around high-level talent, but I do think, I would say the Khabib Nurmagomedov protege, he does train alongside Khabib, Tagir Ulanbekov should get the win here. And he should do so fairly handily, but I do think it's going to be competitive enough to go the 3 rounds. So I have a unanimous decision win for Tagir. But let's check out the odds real quick. Massive underdog is Bruno Silva. He's a plus 390 dog. Tagir Ulanbekov, a minus 440 favorite. I feel like Tagir is a lock, but that's a lot of money to risk. I don't think a bet on Bruno Silva, I just don't feel it's something you would do. 12-1 as a pro, controversial loss was his only defeat. I don't think Bruno Silva is the guy that's going to give Tagir Ulanbekov a loss inside of the UFC. I don't think he is, and I would skip betting on the dog here. But if you want to put money on Ulanbekov, head over to 5 Dimes. They have him at a minus 440. Also on Intertops if you're looking to place that bet. But now let's move to the next fight of the night. Let me quickly bring it up. Fun women's fight here. Tracy Cortez takes on Stephanie Egger. Cortez 136, Egger 135.5. Now, Egger, very dangerous grappler. Tracy Cortez, skilled everywhere, obviously has really good striking, and does have really nice takedowns as well. I think it's a really fun matchup. Now, Egger is the taller girl. She does have a height advantage. I think it's competitive. I'm not sure about this one like 100%. I do think Tracy Cortez should win, but I think there's a legitimate chance for Stephanie Egger here. I think she's a very tough girl. I personally am not going to be putting money on this fight. Maybe if you wanted to throw something down with an Egger submission win, if the odds look good enough, maybe you risk a little something for that. I can see if I have any prop bets here that we can pull up. Okay, so for this fight, if you pick Egger winning by a submission, she's a plus 655 dog on that. Cortez is going to be hard to beat. I don't know if that will happen. I think it's a risky bet, but I wouldn't put money down really on Tracy Cortez or Stephanie Egger to win. Rather, I would maybe do a prop bet for an Egger submission. Maybe, but not much. I don't know. Personally going to skip it. I think there's a chance of an upset here, but don't be surprised if we see Tracy Cortez get the win. But if you are looking to play some bets and you want to do that, head over to 5 Dimes to put money on the winner of the fight. Both them have the best odds. And also, if you're looking to put money on Cortez, you can head over to Sports Int for that one. But now, next fight. This one's a good one. Good striking match is what I'm expecting between these two. Let me bring it up here. All right, so we have Giga Chikadze taking on Omar Moraes, 146 for Giga and Moraes at 145.5. Obviously, both these guys were going to come prepared in great shape and ready for a very competitive striking matchup. I don't think that the weigh-ins really changed my pick at all. I think it's a competitive matchup. I think, as I said, Giga looks better on paper. It really can go either way. I'm going to ride with Moraes. I think a split decision is probable here. I do think it does go the distance. Giga Chikadze has gone the distance in the UFC, but I do think Moraes, the undefeated fighter, remains undefeated and beats Giga Chikadze here. Looking at the odds, they do have Moraes at the dog, Moraes as the favorite at a minus 150, and Giga Chikadze as the dog at a plus 140. If you're looking to put money on Giga Chikadze, 5 Dimes is the plus 140 underdog. That's the best place to put money on him. Now, for Omar Moraes, he's a minus 147 favorite. That's over on Bet Online. Quickly, though, let me pull up a prop bet for a decision here. For the fight to go over 2.5 rounds, it's a minus 215. I think they're expecting a decision. Fight goes the distance is a minus 190. Not the greatest odds there. There's no underdog odd there, no plus. If the fight doesn't go the distance, it's a plus 150. I do think it goes the distance. I think this is a very competitive striking match. But let's get to the next fight of the night. This is an interesting one. I've definitely had some comments about this fight. People disagreeing with my pick personally, originally, between Ali Al-Qazi and Tony Kelly. I understand the disagreement. I mean, Ali could get him to the ground and win that fight. Kelly comes in at 136, Al-Qazi at 136 as well. I gotta be honest with you guys, Ali Al-Qazi might be one of the scariest looking guys I've ever seen. He looks like a human skeleton. He looks a bit dehydrated in the face, but it could just be because he has no facial hair or eyebrows or anything. I don't know. I'm still feeling Kelly in this one, man. I really think he can get it done in a competitive fight. It's a good matchup on paper. I think that you have two good fighters, and it's gonna be back and forth and competitive. As people said, they think that Al-Qazi could get the submission. Personally, I don't know. I think Kai Kamaka, I mean, he had a competitive back and forth fight with Tony Kelly. I hold that in high regard, and that's why I'm picking Kelly by a decision here. Quickly, let me look at the odds for you guys, though. I do think a decision is probably what's going to happen. Ali Al-Qazi plus 190 dog. Tony Kelly a minus 210 favorite. Both those are the best options you can get. That's over at 5 Dimes betting site. But quickly, let me look at some prop bets for this fight. If the fight goes over 2.5 rounds, it's a minus 215, so none great there. But an under 2.5 is a plus 185. If you are feeling like somebody's going to get finished here, let me see what a submission victory would be. All right, Al-Qazi by decision is a massive plus 320. Kelly winning a decision, or rather, Kelly winning inside the distance is a plus 215. He is expected more so to win a decision at a minus 295. I want to see if they have a submission. All right, Al-Qazi by submission is a plus 900. I mean, some people have said, hey, maybe he's going to get the submission. If you're looking to do that, you can put some money down. The best place to do it actually has a plus 1,000 odds. That's over at William H. Sportsbook as well as Sports Int. If that's something you're interested in doing, if you like prop bets, they are high risk because you really never know what's going to happen. Even when you place a bet on either fighter, you really don't know what's going to happen, but especially a prop bet, you could be sure. Curtis Blades was an example. I thought it absolutely, maybe he'll finish Volkov within 5 rounds. You place that prop bet, then he goes the distance there. So prop bet's a little bit tricky, a little bit riskier, but hey, if you guys are feeling confident, give it a go. Next fight, though, this one's good too. I mean, I'm excited for this battle between two solid middleweights, up-and-coming guys who are getting started with their careers. Joaquin Buckley versus Impa Kasanganay. Joaquin, solid puncher, a lot of power. Impa Kasanganay, I'm very impressed by his fight IQ and his grappling skills, as well as his resistance to punches and defense is really good. He's got a lot of potential and upside. I don't think he's going to be able to stop Joaquin Buckley. I think Joaquin actually has more of a chance of stopping him, but I do think if it gets outside of the first round, we see Kasanganay with a unanimous decision. I am going to ride with that, looking at the weights, 185.5 for both fighters. To look at the betting odds, I know that Kasanganay was a fairly substantial favorite earlier in the week. He still is at a minus 220. Joaquin Buckley a plus 200. If you do want to put money on Joaquin Buckley, he's a plus 210 on William H. That's the best place to put money on him. I will bring up some prop bets for this fight as well that I think are worth looking at. I want to see a Buckley TKO. All right, so let's say you think Buckley is going to win by TKO here. It's going to be a 444 plus, so he's a pretty good bet there if he does pull that off. I want to see if there is a first round bet here. Okay, so Buckley winning in the first round is a plus 675. If you guys really like Buckley, I mean, you could put down on Buckley winning by first round knockout. Buckley wins by TKO in round 1 is a plus 1,200. There's one site that you can bet that on. That is on Bet Online. If you're looking to do that, if you like the prop bets, as I said, risky. I personally am riding with Impa Kasanganay. I always pronounce his name. I apologize if I did earlier. But Joaquin Buckley does have a puncher's chance, especially in that first round. He's a very hard-hitting fighter. I like the matchup. I think it's a fun fight, but I am sticking with my original pick of Impa Kasanganay here. Next fight, we have some heavyweights, and with heavyweights, really anything can happen. One punch changes the fight, and we do have a big puncher in this heavyweight matchup. Chris Daukaus, who weighs in at 227. He came in very light, takes on Rodrigo Nascimento at 265. The weight difference is pretty substantial here. I think that's going to play in the favor of Rodrigo Nascimento, who's a really good grappler. Now, black belt in jiu-jitsu is also Chris Daukaus, but the level I think is different. I think Nascimento will get a submission win here. Could also see a unanimous decision. I'm not really feeling any type of prop bet on this one for me personally. If you were looking, though, Chris Daukaus got a puncher's chance, especially in that first round. He's coming off a first-round knockout of Parker Porter, Rodrigo Nascimento, second-round submission. I like Nascimento by second-round submission, but looking at just the general betting odds, you have Chris Daukaus at a plus 225 dog to Rodrigo Nascimento at a minus 245 favorite. If you are looking to put money on Daukaus, though, you can do it on 5 dimes. They also have good odds on Bet365 and Bet Online. All three of those are plus 225. For Nascimento, the best place is going to be 5 dimes. He's a minus 245, but I will check out some betting odds. I want to see 2 of them, actually, for the prop bets, a Nascimento submission, and I want to also see a Daukaus TKO. So if a Daukaus got a knockout or TKO, it's a plus 314. If Nascimento gets a submission, it's actually not in the favorite. It's a minus 115. So I mean, he's kind of maybe expected to possibly pull that off. Daukaus winning inside the distance is a plus 270. Nascimento in the distance minus 150. Really not too many good prop bets at all for Nascimento. If you're feeling the bet on the dog, though, I mean, I would say that's the better choice here. Daukaus to win in round 1 is a plus 510. That's his best bet, I would say, as a first round knockout. Daukaus to win by TKO in round 1 is a plus 800. TKO or knockout, obviously, is a plus 800. That over on Bet Online. So if you guys are looking to put money, Bet Online, if you want to bet on a first round victory for Daukaus, that's the place to do it. Some pretty big odds there. But as I've said, prop bets, very risky. They're high risk, high reward, though, because if you do pull it off, I have in the past, I've pulled off something big with a prop bet. You'll make a lot more than you put in, but it's high risk. You could lose your money in that. Next fight of the night, right prior to the main card, so the final prelim, exciting debut. KB Bhullar, who was supposed to be on the Contender Series very soon, instead is going to be fighting Tom Breese. Both these fighters 186. Tom Breese, really nasty boxing, and I like Tom Breese a lot in this matchup. Here's why. Southpaw versus Southpaw fight here. Tom Breese actually does better. If you look back at his win over Dan Kelly, granted, Kelly not the best striker, he was able to destroy him on the feet, and I think here with Bhullar, he has that striking advantage. Now, KB Bhullar, pretty good overall mixed martial artist. I think he's gonna compete, especially in that first round. But I do think that we're gonna see Tom Breese possibly get a TKO victory here. Could also see a decision. I'm thinking round 2 TKO Tom Breese, though. That's the pick that I like in this matchup. And let's check out the odds too. All right, so Tom Breese, still a big favorite, minus 250. A couple people said they like KB Bhullar in the comments also. He's a plus 230 dog. If you're looking to put money on him, 5 dimes is the place to do it. But let's check out some prop bets for this matchup. I want to see a Tom Breese TKO or knockout. All right, Breeze is a plus 270 for a TKO or KO. For Bhullar to get a TKO or KO is a plus 550. I think more likely Bhullar would get a submission. He's a plus 907 for a submission. So, hey, if you look to bet on that, if you think he's going to get a submission victory, drop $100, you're going to make yourself $900. And if he does do that, that would be pretty insane. If you do also have an idea of what round, I mean, you can get some pretty good odds with a Bhullar submission. Let's see if they have it here. Bhullar by submission in round 1 is a plus 3,000. That's crazy. Bhullar by a submission in round 2 is a plus 4,000. And I'm going to look at round 3. It's a plus 5,000. Some crazy odds. If you really feel like Mystic Mac and you can really predict exactly what's going to happen and you think Bhullar gets the upset here, go throw some money on him. You can make a lot in this matchup. Now, next fight of the night. This is a very exciting one between 2 hot prospects. Ilia Topuria, he takes on Youssef Zalal. I'm pumped for this matchup. A lot of people disagree with me picking Youssef Zalal in this matchup. And I do understand why. I mean, Topuria is a very dangerous grappler, and he probably will get Zalal down. But Zalal really needs to use his range control very nicely. Now, I originally thought that we could see a stoppage win. I went back and looked up Topuria a bit more, watched some more footage on him, and I really sat down, thought about it. And then I saw how he looked at weigh-ins. Both coming in at 146, but he looked pretty jacked, pretty thick. I'm going to still stick with a Zalal pick, but I'm really leaning towards a decision for Zalal. I think it's going to be a lot harder for him to get get the stoppage in this matchup than I originally thought. I think Topuria can probably compete, but I did originally say first round knockout, so I did see something in the notes early on, or in the footage study rather, early on that would say, hey, there's an opening, and I think the head kick is an opportunity. If Zalal lands a massive head kick, and I think he has the potential to, he could drop Topuria in round one, but I won't be surprised with a decision in this matchup. I do want to check out the odds again for you guys, though. Let's look at them. Topuria plus 140 dog, minus 160 favorite is Zalal. Best place to bet on Topuria, you can actually get him at a plus 143, is on Sportsbet. For Zalal, a minus 152. That's on Bet365. I am going to look at the prop bets, though, again. We'll check them out. I want to see a Zalal decision, what that's sitting at right now. All right. Zalal wins by decision is a plus 150. If you think Topuria, though, people have said I like Topuria by submission. A lot of people seem to be confident that he will submit Zalal. He's a plus 275 is the best option you can get. That is over on Sports Int, or as well as on Intertops. If you're looking to bet on Topuria by a submission, those are the best odds you can get. Also, let's see if you guys, people have said, hey, maybe a first or second round submission for Topuria. So let's look. Topuria wins in round one. That's pretty big, plus 450 on the same betting sites that I just mentioned. I want to see if we can find a Topuria submission victory. Or rather, submission in round one victory. Topuria wins by submission in round one. It's a plus 450. So, not super crazy. I mean, it's big, but not crazy. For Zalal, if he was to win by submission, which is not going to happen, plus 2,000. For Zalal to win by TKO in round one, it's a plus 1,200. They don't like Topuria by stoppage, though, because if you do bet on Topuria winning by a TKO here, it's pretty big. It's plus 1,800. So he's not expected to do well with the hands or on the feet with Zalal in any matter. On the ground, though, obviously, we know Topuria has the skills to compete. If you are looking to play some bets, those are some options for you guys. Personally, I am going to ride with Zalal, but I totally see an argument for Topuria, and I won't be absolutely surprised if Topuria does pull off a win. He does look good, and he's in great shape as well. Now, next fight of the night. Very exciting fights on this whole card. I'm really pumped. I mean, Tom Aspinall, I really think has a ton of potential. Quick knockout of Jake Collier. Collier was not at the level to compete at all in that matchup. Now, Alan Baudot, though, he's coming in kind of unknown. I have seen a bit of his footage, though. He's fought in the EFC. Was a light heavyweight, moving up to heavyweight, but he came in at 254. Tom Aspinall at 252, so he's the bigger man, technically, than Aspinall. I think, though, that this is going to be a domination. I think that Tom Aspinall wins in the first round here. I could see it lasting 3 minutes. I could also see it lasting 30 seconds. It could be very quick, but it could go into the later parts of round one. But I do see Tom Aspinall with a bit of a domination here. He's also a massive, massive favorite. Minus 575 favorite to Alan Baudot at a plus 485. I want to look at the prop bet for Tom Aspinall by knockout. I'm not advising a bet on Alan Baudot. I really, from what I've seen, I don't think he can compete with Tom Aspinall. If he pulls it off, that would be crazy, but I really don't. Looking at Aspinall, he's expected to win by TKO. You have him at a minus 165 by TKO. Let's see if we can find Aspinall winning by first round knockout. Aspinall wins in round one. It's a plus 100. It's not anything substantial. All right, we'll find it here. Okay. Aspinall by KO or TKO round one, plus 135. Excuse me. There's really not much to make here on Aspinall winning this fight, even with a prop bet. Even if you predict it perfectly, exactly 135. Not great odds. Not anything crazy. For Baudot to win by knockout around one, it's a plus 1,200. I mean, I don't see it, man. I really don't see Baudot doing it, but if you wanted to throw a little something down on him, you feel like, hey, he might catch him, you could. Personally, I really don't see it. From what I've seen of Baudot, he's not at the level of Aspinall at all. Like, it's a fairly substantial difference in the striking skill set here, and I think this is a pretty bad mismatch, actually. Moving up to the next fight, though, we have another good matchup. This one between the Joker of Markus Perez. All right, let me quickly pull it up. Okay, so we got Dricus du Plessis versus Markus Perez, 186 for both men. Exciting matchup. The Joker, he is here. He's ready to fight. This is a fun fight. I think Dricus, rather. People have said I mispronounced his name. I guess a lot of people add the S sound into a little, but really it's Dricus. So Dricus du Plessis, excellent kickboxing skill. I think he's going to get a win over Perez here. Now, I picked knockout. I could see a knockout maybe in the third round, but I do think it could also go the distance. It's very competitive. But Dricus has a lot of experience. As I mentioned, I mean, he's a world champion in kickboxing, or rather a gold medalist in kickboxing, Waco kickboxing. Also, KSW champ, welterweight and middleweight, EFC champ in the middleweight and welterweight. Rather, in KSW, he was only the welterweight champ. That was incorrect there. But a lot of experience, high-level experience. He's a really good fighter, and I think that he's going to win against Markus Perez here. Definitely, the method, it could be decision, but I am leaning towards a TKO. I could really see that TKO. He's a slight favorite at a minus 165 to Markus Perez at a plus 155. If you're trying to put money on Dricus, you can head over to Bet365. He's a minus 164 there. For Perez at 5 dimes, he's a plus 155. I want to look at the prop bets, though, once again. Quickly, we can look at them. For a Dricus TKO or knockout, plus 275 on Bet Online. I don't know, it's tough. Markus Perez never been stopped, though, so that's a risky bet. Also, if this fight goes the distance, that's actually a plus 138 on William H. I do see this fight potentially going the distance or a third round stoppage here. I will also bring up a Perez submission because I think that's his most likely way to win here, is if he was able to tap Dricus. All right, Perez wins by submission. He is pretty big underdog in that. It is going to be Perez by a submission, sitting at a plus 425. Actually, a plus 605 is the best place to do it on Sports Int. They have it massive. I don't think Perez does it. I don't think he beats Dricus here. But if you do want to place a bet, those are some options for you guys. It should be a really fun fight, though. I mean, I'm really excited for the debut of du Plessis, and Perez, always a fun guy to watch. But now we're getting into the big heavyweight fight between Ben Rothwell and Marcin Tybura. Honestly, the size is not substantially different here. Tybura gained some weight. He came in at 263. Rothwell came in at 265. Really close matchup. I think it's a competitive fight. It is really, really close. I originally thought Rothwell would get a TKO. I'm actually leaning towards maybe Tybura winning this fight, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. He came in bigger. I thought the size difference was going to be the advantage for Rothwell, but these guys look about the same height when they stood next to each other. You can see there, not a substantial difference in size. I think Tybura is going to have a smothering style. I originally said Rothwell by TKO round 2. It could happen. Obviously, I saw something. I also could see Rothwell by a close decision, but I also could see Tybura grinding out a win in this matchup. Really, I went back and I wanted to look at some more footage. When you guys question me in the comments, I really like to dig deeper. And I do understand why Tybura has people believing in him and why he could win this fight. I think it's possible. A plus 140 underdog is Tybura to Ben Rothwell at a minus 150. On William H, he's a minus 149. Quickly, I will look at the prop bets here. I want to see a decision win for Tybura on the prop bets. All right, so if Tybura was to win inside of, or rather not inside of the distance, plus 275. Best place you can do that on is Bet Online. So pretty big odds. I could see him winning a decision. He's a decision guy. Now, Ben Rothwell, I could also see winning a decision. He's also a plus 275. Now, different website though. That would have to be on Bet365. But for a knockout win of Rothwell, a TKO, plus 254 on 5 dimes, as well as sports bet. So either are the options there. I don't know. This one's really tricky for me, guys. I'm going to be honest. It's a true pick'ems fight. I think it can really go either way. I originally said Rothwell. Tybura came in looking bigger. I'm not going to be surprised if we see Tybura with a grinding win here. I really am not. I feel like Rothwell, he didn't look good against OSP. He squeaked by Stefan Struve with the nut shots, and that fight was a bit controversial. This one's really tough, guys. I'm going to be honest. Picking between these two guys is really difficult for me in this matchup because I think it's really a 50-50. I think Tybura could put him against the cage and dominate here. I think Rothwell's a bit older. He has lost a fair amount of fights recently. Doesn't look like the young Rothwell. You know what? I'm going to change my pick here. I think Marcin Tybura has the potential to get the win here. I'm going to pick Tybura decision. I am going to change it. I don't know. I looked at some film. I'm looking at Rothwell. I'm just feeling the vibe. I don't know why. I just feel like Tybura is going to get this fight. I'm picking Marcin Tybura. Changing the pick. I have been swayed by looking it up, researching it a bit more, and digging even deeper. And I really think that there's a good chance Tybura gets a very close decision win here. Now, still chance for Rothwell. As I said, it's a pick'ems. It was really a tough decision for me to pick between either of these guys, even for the original video, because it's a really close matchup. But the next fight is the co-main event, and I'm very excited for this because I want to see what Edson can do. I want to see how much Edson has left in the tank, and I want to see how he does against a very good grappler at 145. Edson Barboza, 145.5, Makwan, 146. Now, originally, I thought Edson would get a decision. I still am leaning this fight going the distance. I think it's another toss-up similar to the Marcin fight. But I am going to ride with Edson. I'm not changing my pick because Edson has fought elite-level competition time and time again and done fairly well against it. Now, Dan Ige was probably the biggest step back he's had. He kind of struggled in that matchup, but a lot of people felt he should have won that decision. I felt in the moment that he did. Looking back, it was close. It could have gone either way, but he did drop Ige in that first round. I think Edson is a really good fighter, and he's going to be able to edge by Makwan here. I think Makwan's really good, and he's got a ton of upside, high-level wrestler, as I mentioned, credentialed wrestler. But for MMA, he's really good. His wrestling's good, but he hasn't looked like a Khabib-type wrestler, and I don't think that he's going to be able to beat Edson here. But I do think it's competitive and goes to 3 rounds. I got Edson by a decision. Let's check out the odds still. Honestly, the odds are way more widespread than I feel they should be. And that's just because Edson's name, obviously. 5 dimes have a minus 260 for Edson Barboza as the favorite. Makwan sitting at a plus 240 dog. Those are substantial odds there. Also, if you want to bet on Edson, he's a minus 260 on Bet Online. I'm going to look at the prop bet. If this fight goes over 2.5 rounds, it's a plus 127. If you wanted to place that bet, that's over on 5 dimes. I also want to look at a Makwan Amirkhani submission. So if Makwan's to win by submission, it's a plus 625 underdog on 5 dimes as well as sports bet. It's tricky. I mean, he could get a submission. I really think he has the potential to do so, but it's, as I said, it's hard to pick against Edson. I mean, this guy's proven himself as a very tough guy to beat time and time again. Even though he has losses, he's tough to beat. You can beat him, but he's going to be a lot of work. And we've seen Makwan lose in the past to Shane Burgos, that loss. Granted, people said he was hospitalized with some type of infection. Still, I feel like the gas tank, I think Edson could still squeak by just this much. For an Edson TKO, it's not really anything great. Plus 135 on Intertops. I want to see an Edson decision real quick for you guys. So Barboza to win by a decision is a plus 275 underdog. For Makwan to win by a decision, it's a plus 600 dog. If you are looking to bet on the Edson decision first, a plus 275. That's on sports bet as well as 5 dimes. If you like Makwan by a decision, plus 600 on Bet365. Massive. The odds are, I believe the odds are a bit swayed on this matchup. I think it's really close. I think it's more of a pick'ems fight. But as I mentioned, the name of Edson Barboza carries a lot of value, and that's why he's a substantial favorite. So hey, maybe a bet on Makwan's not a bad idea. We don't know how Edson's going to look. We're going to see. Against Ige, he looked decent, but didn't look super amazing. He looked good, but is he good enough to beat Makwan? We're going to find out, but I'm still riding with Edson Barboza here. Now, main event of the evening. We have finally arrived at it. Here we are. We have Marlon Moraes versus Cory Sandhagen. Very exciting matchup. Both men come in at 136. Originally, I picked that we would see the TKO round number 4 by Cory Sandhagen. The weigh-ins really didn't change my mind at all. I was pretty confident in that pick. Some people have said, they think that the power of Marlon will make a difference as well as the leg kicks. I'm going to be honest. I just think that Cory Sandhagen is a very elite level striker and stylistically matches up well. We saw some holes in Marlon's game against Aldo. Still went on to win, but he doesn't fight well off the back foot, and Cory is going to pressure him from the start, and Cory's going to get this win. Looking at the odds, minus 135 favorite is Cory Sandhagen. That is over on Bookmaker. If you are looking to bet on Marlon Moraes, he's a plus 125. That's on Bet365. I'm also for Cory Sandhagen, minus 135 on Pinnacle as well as Sports Int. But for Marlon, the only place really will put money down, plus 125 on Bet365. But every odd has it pretty close. Intertops actually has them at a plus 110. The odds are even closer there. I will look at a prop bet, though. I want to see this fight going over 3.5 rounds is a plus 105 on a couple of sites, 5 dimes, Sports Bet as well as Pinnacle. But I want to look at Marlon winning by knockout and Sandhagen winning by knockout. For Marlon by knockout, it's a plus 325 on Bet Online. Pretty big odds. For Sandhagen by knockout, it's a plus 350. That over at William H. I want to see an exact round pick here. Let's see a Sandhagen 4th round stoppage, or rather wins in the 4th round by any method, right? Plus 1,700 if you put money on Sandhagen round 4. That is over on Sports Int. I don't know. It's tricky. I mean, but plus 1,700 is pretty good odds. I may consider having to do that myself. I mean, you can make a lot of money doing that. Granted, you could be wrong and lose that money, but, you know, don't put down more than you don't want to lose. Also, Moraes. I think Moraes' best chances are in round 1 and 2. He's a plus 1,000 in the first round. That is on Bet Online. He's also in round number 2. He's a plus 900. That over on Sports Int. I mean, there are some pretty good odds for prop bets here. I mean, it's one of those fights that are so tight and close that it could go either way. Really tricky to make predictions on these type of fights. But I do think that, just looking at the stylistic matchup, Cory gets to win. Now, to pick the round and things like that, it's a educated guessing game, and especially putting money down on the line on it. But I do want to also just look at my Marlon or a Sandhagen decision. For Sandhagen by a decision, it's a plus 425. For Marlon by a decision, it's a plus 650. So competitive matchup. The odds are definitely close. I mean, on every site, you can see they're close. The prop bets obviously are going to be pretty substantial, your gain that you can make, but that's why they know a lot of people are going to lose here. Very rare you're going to predict the exact round. I mean, granted, it can happen, especially in a 5-round fight, not even less chance that you pick the correct round. But super exciting fight. Overall, a good card. I'm really excited to see how Marlon looks coming back from the Aldo fight. I'm really excited to see Sandhagen returning from the Aljamain Sterling fight. Overall, the whole card is good. There's a lot of fun fights, a lot of exciting prospects like Tom Aspinall, who I mentioned, also Youssef, Zalal, Ilia, Topuria. And it's good to see some OG vets, Ben Rothwell taking on Marcin, Tybura, and also the battle between 2 solid featherweights, Edson, a former high-level lightweight, taking on Makwan Amirkhani, who I believe is still trying to make a push towards that belt. And I mean, I think he has the skills to be a contender, but he really is going to have to get past Edson here. This is a very big test. Only 2 losses in his career. Can Edson be the 3rd guy to defeat him? We'll soon find out. But that is the UFC Fight Island 5 weigh-in recap, the predictions, and the betting odds. Also talked about some prop bets too. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. Also, guys, follow my social media, Instagram, Twitter, and I'll see you all in the next video.